Alright, what's going on everybody? Hope you all are doing good. So I accidentally made one of the best Kate Bishop melee builds, and yeah, it was by accident. And I know there are going to be some changes coming to the damage buff in the patch coming out on Thursday, but even with those changes, if I play melee Kate, I'm still going to play this way. And it starts with this piece right here, the Hawksbird's Edge. I'm not sure where you can get this from, but I'll leave a link in the description of a Microsoft Excel sheet that has all of the hero gear in the game. With this piece, your intrinsic attack still a status effect. So this one does a shock status effect on my intrinsic attacks. Somehow it's bugged right now, so I'm doing shock and cosmic at the same time. Now that is two sources of extra damage from the shock and the cosmic, but the enemies have to be filled with the status effects to get that extra damage. So you have to have a little bit of intensity on. And I got my intensity from this piece right here, the Tachyon's Rays, which is an amazing piece. Wish it didn't have raised arrows, wish it was scatter shot, but that's okay because I'm focusing on melee. So it has the intensity on it, which brings my intensity up to a 71%, and whenever the Tachyon Surge is active, that brings my intensity up to a 121%. So with one intrinsic attack, I'm able to fill the enemy up with two different stats effects. So I'm pretty much battering on just about every single intrinsic attack. And even if this didn't have two status effects and if it wasn't bugged like mine is now, this still is a great setup if you want to fully apply a status effect to an enemy. Now if you don't have a Tachyon's Rays, one thing you can do is put on a piece like this right here with a Cosmic Potentiator, because you can see my intensity and my stun damage right now is 121%. If I put this on, it goes up to 141%. This Cosmic Potentiator has been bugged since pretty much it came out, so it gives you an automatic 20% stun damage anytime that you have it on, and it comes on slot 4 or slot 3. If you did run the Cosmic Potentiator, you'll be losing out on a lot of extra damage because you will want to have this Reverberation Drive on slot 3, which gives you an extra 25% damage to enemies afflicted with Vibranium. You're going to want to have that because you're going to need this Nornstone of the Bulwark, which will give a Vibranium payload to enemies hit by melee critical attacks. For slot 4, I have this piece right here. It inflicts an extra 25% damage to enemies fully afflicted with the Cosmic status effect. So you're automatically getting extra damage from enemies who have Cosmic on them just from the status effect itself and from the shock from doing the melee attacks. And you get an extra 25% damage if they are filled with Cosmic on top of the damage that you're already getting. And that's on top of the damage that you'll be getting from an enemy being filled with Vibranium, the damage buff, and the Tachyon Surge. So you have additive damage on every single slot. Now what else is good about this piece is this first perk. So oftentimes you'll see me defeat an enemy who has the Cosmic status effect on them, and you'll see a little green aura on the ground, looks like Hawkeye Support Heroic. That's what this is, and it'll heal you and your teammates, but the enemy has to be filled with Cosmic status effect, and it's a 42% chance at activating as well. And you also have the lethal Cosmic Surge, which is how I keep myself alive. For this minor artifact right here, I have a triple mic ISO, and I have an extra 12% damage from mid-air melee combos. So anytime I jump in the air and do any of my attacks, I get an extra 12% damage. And for your artifacts, feel free to go with whatever you want to. There are a few skills that are important. Typically, if I'm playing by myself or if I feel like my teammates are good enough defensively, I'll turn this Afterglow on so I can get willpower back and intrinsic energy whenever I am using after image. Now that's very important because you're going to want your intrinsic energy to be filled the entire time, because you do get an extra 10% critical attack damage while you're overcharged, and the extra willpower keeps you alive. And you want to have this one on where your decoy drops regeneration packs as it deals damage. And for this section, do whatever. Now for this section, there are a few things. The Quantum Scythe, this is a melee build, but the scythes themselves scale off of precision. So the more precision you have, the more this scythe actually will do. But the melee hits themselves are based on might. Now I always like to have this one active because my Assault Hero recharge rate is at 19% right now. But if I was to activate my ultimate, then it would go to a 69%. Now for this section, typically I'll have it on flying solo because you do get that extra 20% damage from juggling enemies. And the juggling enemy, all you have to do is do one power attack. And after you do that one power attack, detonate the arrow and they'll fly up into the air. But I like using Shot Taker as well, and whenever you do your signature attack, a lot of the times the enemies will be trying to hit you, and a lot of the times this will activate and instead of the enemy hitting you, the camera will slow down and you're able to do your signature attack, and it works out pretty well. I have the extra 10% stun damage from melee attacks on this one as well because it's a melee build. This section, do whatever. Now for this section, what I found worked best for me may not necessarily work best for you, because you have to look back at my build. I automatically get an extra 15% quantum energy from running this one piece right here, so I don't necessarily need to have it highlighted. So I have this bottom one where it reduces the cost of blink dashes by 15%, but the one that you must have in order to deal the maximum amount of damage is this one right here, where your intrinsic attacks deal an increased damage of 20%, and you're going to want to have this one highlighted as well, where it increases the stun of light and heavy intrinsic attacks by 25%. And in this section, I'll usually run overcharge surge. Unless I'm fighting a boss, then I won't have this one on, or unless I'm in the OOT, then I won't have this one on. And on this one, you're going to want to have the increased damage from combo finishers, and this one right here, do whatever. But I have the range critical attack damage increased by 10% while overcharged. Now, she does have a few moves that benefit her more than others, and the most important one is this one right here, the Quantum Saber. So if you're just holding R2 and you press triangle to teleport above an enemy, and you can look at it, it shows the damage is high, the impact is high, and the stun is high as well. This is the strongest move within her skill tree, and with the setup that I have right now, I can hit for about 110,000, something like that, when everything is activated. This Quantum Arc right here, so you have to do this after you parry somebody. It's pretty cool, and it will deal the status effect on your intrinsic attack, but it does not do a lot of damage like it says. And this Quantum Strike right here, it does deal increased damage on the combo finisher, so it meshes up really well with the other skill in the skill tree, where you get an extra 10% damage on combo finishers. So yeah, that's my Kate melee build. And like I mentioned before, even though this is a bug piece, so it does shock and cosmic at the same time, if you can still find a way to consistently battery, you'll still be doing the same amount of damage. You just may have to take another step to get in that process. So you may not be able to automatically battery on melee attacks, but you will be able to battery if you can fill an enemy up with vibranium or any type of opposite status effect, preferably vibranium. But if not vibranium, just have any type of opposite status effect and have some type of damage amplifiers. And the best damage amplifiers that I've seen across pretty much any character are the cosmic ones and the vibranium damage amplifiers. And if you don't have those, you can always substitute this out right here. So let's say you don't have this Omega Crest, you can always put on this piece right here, where you get an extra 20% damage when Quantum Surge is active. Not only that, but you get an extra 38% Valor already, because this rolls with Valor, and it comes with a damage buff on 16 hits. So even this piece may actually be better than this piece, but this piece has a few of the perks that you may want to have. The same thing with this right here. If you don't have the Tachyon's Rays, obviously you're going to lose damage if you switch out to something else, but you can always, let's say, run a Tachyon piece like this one right here, and then go over to this one right here. Instead of having this extra 25% damage, you put on this one right here where you get an extra 20% damage, and you still are able to maintain that damage buff. You'll just be doing slightly less damage. But again, hope you all enjoyed the video. Have a good day.